So obviously over the years, the blacklist has expanded, not just in the number of people you survey, but in kind of the scope with the website and everything. I'm sort of curious how long into the blacklist process you decided to take it wider.
You know, it's interesting. It's been an evolving process. I think, when the blacklist started, that was, just for, sort of contextualization's sake, pre-iPhone, pre-Twitter, pre-Facebook, it's really all the things that I think, we now take for granted that technology allows us to connect. And as those things evolved, and I started to think of the blacklist as almost quaint as this yearly PDF that circulates via email, I started to think about ways that we could continue the mission and the values of the list and take advantage of the technologies that were available, both within the industry to allow people to do their jobs more efficiently, but also sort of without the industry to make it easier and more efficient for people who were really talented to maybe potentially have access to being part of the business.
So is there a lot of work that goes into this? Because at the end of the year, we just get a list, but it seems like you're talking about something that's a bit bigger in scope and man hours.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have a partner on the list, Dina Siamic, who deals with a lot of the technology because I don't code. But no, it's a lot of work, but it's incredibly gratifying work and work that we're proud to do and be a part of the process that hopefully gets great movies made.
All right, so I'm curious to hear your answer to this, because every year we hear two common criticisms of the blacklist. I'm sure you're tired of answering it. How true is it that people lobby to get their scripts on the blacklist, and do you think that has in any way negatively impacted the list or its reputation? My sense is that it has not significantly impacted the list reputation, and the reason I believe that is this. Look, I think certainly agents and managers do lobby for their client scripts. I think that, that's a rational response to what the list can do for their clients. I also think, though, that the people that are voting on the list recognize that, as soon as the list no longer has integrity, it's of no value to anybody, and it really has value in terms of making people's lives easier in terms of finding good content. So while there are probably certainly outliers in terms of one or two votes being cast here or there for scripts that might otherwise be cast were it not for the lobbying, I think for the most part, in reality, lobbying has a greater potential to hurt a script's chances because people respond negatively to the lobbying than it does have the potential to help. And there's also one sort of thing that I would add to that, is that there is no problem, and I think it's a good thing, that agents and managers call development executives towards the end of the year saying, hey, listen, the blacklist voting will be soon, I know this, and I don't know if you've had a chance to read this, but would you read it, and if you like it, vote for it. If anything, that increases the volume of reading that's being done every year, and I think is just an absolute positive. The thing that I'm uncomfortable with, and I hope doesn't happen, is people transacting, hey, if you vote for this, I'll do whatever. But at the end of the day, the voting's anonymous, so even people that say, yeah, sure, I'll vote for it, I know for a fact don't actually usually mean it. Interesting. Now, the other kind of common criticism that we sometimes get is that too many of these scripts are already in production, or they're from famous established writers. Where are the unrepped? Where are the amateurs? Do you have a response to that?
I do. I think that those people that have that critique should go back and look at some of the early lists and do their research. The first list, I believe the number 4 or number 6 script on the first list was written by Aaron Sorkin, and 2 spots down from that was David Benioff, both of whom at the time were very much established writers. And I'll be honest, some of the new initiatives we've launched in the last couple of months are specifically designed to give amateur screenwriters and people that are not necessarily part of the system an opportunity to showcase their work. But I think there's something very special about a list where a previously unrepresented writer or a previously unknown writer who's writing their debut script can be above a script like Social Network that is written by Aaron Sorkin and will go on to win the Academy Award. I mean, there's something remarkable about the fact that the year that the Social Network was on the list, it was number 2, and the number 1 script was written by a writer who had been unrepresented at the beginning of that calendar year and lived in Australia at the time.
So what you're saying is you wouldn't necessarily even want it to see the list become a best undiscovered script exclusively. You like the mix of the pros and the non-pros. I
do. At the end of the day, the list is designed explicitly to be a list of the best unproduced screenplays, regardless of their source. And what I think has been remarkable about that is when people are casting those votes,
not thinking about where the script came from or what agent sent them the script, you get a remarkable mix of debut writers, not well-known writers, and established pros. And I think for the unknown writers that are on there, it gives their place on the list greater credibility than it would if it was a list of all undiscovereds.
Can you think of a specific script, possibly by an unknown writer, that was really helped by being on this list? One that maybe might have fallen through the cracks, or something that might have been completely overlooked were it not for its recognition?
You know, I'll be honest, I'm always reluctant to overstate the role of the list. And I think certainly every script that's on the list would probably have found a home, and that writer probably would have found success down the line because they had done great writing. I think what the Blacklist does, and the thing that I'm most proud of, is that it shines a very bright spotlight on the people that are doing that writing, and maybe makes it a little bit easier, or makes the process of them getting discovered and getting discovered in a way that will allow them greater opportunities a lot faster. But I'm always reluctant to say that, oh, because of the Blacklist, so-and-so got discovered. They didn't get discovered because of the Blacklist. They got discovered because they did great writing. The Blacklist just made sure everybody was aware that that was what they were doing.